Go ahead, MJ.
Was the president briefed on Samantha Wall, the leader of a synagogue in Detroit who was stabbed to death?
So obviously, our hearts go out to the family, to the families there. It's a devastating um, uh, news story. The president obviously is just like everyone else is paying close attention and saw those reports. I don't have anything else to add. Obviously, the investigation continues, and we are willing to assist in any way. I just don't have anything else beyond that.
What is his level of concern right now about the potential rise of anti-Semitism in light of everything that's going on in Israel?
So a couple of things. We have not seen any credible threats. I know there's been always questions about credible threats, and so just want to make sure that that's out there. But look, Muslim and those perceived to be Muslim have endured a disproportionate number of hate-fueled attacks. And certainly President Biden understands that many of our Muslim, Arab Americans and Palestinian American loved ones and neighbors are worried about the hate being directed at their communities, and that is something you heard the president speak to in his address just last Thursday. And so one of the things that the president has done is directed his team, Homeland Security team, to prioritize prevention and disruption of any emerging threats that could harm the Jewish, the Muslim, Arab Americans, or any other communities. And that is something that the president has sought to do and since day one. As you know, the president ran on bringing protecting communities, obviously, but bringing people together, protecting the soul of the nation, and so that is something that the president takes very, very seriously, and. We're going to continue to denounce any sort of hate towards any American here, and so that's what we're going to continue to be steadfast on. Again, he has directed his Homeland Security team to make sure that they're on top of this. Oh, I haven't called it again.
Thank you. I know John Kirby addressed the protests on college campuses, and I appreciate that the president respects First Amendment rights to protest. But does the president view anti-Israel protests and sentiment on college campuses as anti-Semitism?
So look, I'm not going to get into what's happening across the country at different universities. Not going to get into the specifics. As the admiral said, the First Amendment right? That's what something. And peaceful protest is really part of our democracy. Being able for folks to be able to express their feelings. I'm not going to get into any specifics on that. The president has been very clear in wanting to make sure that Jewish Americans, wanting to make sure that Arab Americans, Muslims are protected here. That is what he believes in, that they have the right to live their lives and to feel protection and to feel like they're able to be part of a community. The president has been very, very clear on denouncing any type of violence. And so as it relates to peaceful protesting, people have the right to do that. But we're just not going to get into blow-by-blows of what's going on across the country. The president has been very clear, very clear.
Blow by blow, but the president himself said silence is complicity. So if there's anti-Semitic letters being sent by students or protests, sentiment at protests,
of course, the president doesn't is against anti-Semitism. Of course, this is a president that you have heard me say wants to protect communities. Whether it's the Jewish community, the Arab American community, the Palestinian community, this is someone who is going to speak out against anti-Semitism, of course. But you're asking me, you were kind of conflating the two. You were asking me about protest, and you were asking me about this question.
If you talk to a lot of the protesters, you'll hear anti-Semitic comments.
And we're going to always denounce. We're always going to denounce anti-Semitism. But at the same time, people have the right to peacefully protest. But we, in this administration, are going to always denounce anti-Semitism, any form of hate, whether it's against the Jewish community, right? Anti-Semitism against the Muslim community, Arab American community, or the Palestinian. We are going to denounce any form of hate that comes towards those communities. As it relates to protests, peaceful protests, people have the right to do that. But this is an administration, obviously, that's going to be very forceful and very clear about denouncing anti-Semitism.